Welcome to the 2016 Brazilian Grand Prix preview. Now, Brazil is the penultimate round, yes, the penultimate round of the 2016 Formula 1 World Championship, and it is run at the Autodromo José Carlos Pache circuit, just outside of Sao Paulo. It's an amazing circuit, a very short but very off-camber circuit. It's got a lot of uphill and downhill stretches. There's 71 laps ahead of us on Sunday, with a circuit length of 4.3 kilometres, which estimates at 305 kilometres. Absolutely an amazing circuit, and the lap record was set by Juan Pablo Montoya in 2004, so 12 years ago, by a time of 1 minute 11, which is incredible by them, but we're going to see it come very close with the V6 era. The Brazilian Grand Prix is absolutely amazing. It's seen some absolutely amazing fights in the last few years. It was the last race of the season, so obviously we saw some amazing championship fights. We saw Hamilton and Massa, which obviously celebrated its 8-year anniversary last week. I mean, obviously we saw the Alonso Vettel in 2012. Absolutely an amazing race, made unbelievable by that first lap. But we'll get into that. Obviously, we'll mention that in this video, and obviously we'll get into that, you know, in a bit more down the line. But absolutely amazing by them. And obviously, the biggest news is it might not be such a massive news because obviously this is the penultimate round. It can only happen. This can be the only race that, you know, it might happen or it might not, and go to the next round. Which is, obviously, the title could be lifted this weekend, obviously, by Nico Rosberg. Not Lewis Hamilton, by Nico Rosberg. He leads by 19 points. Obviously, as you know, Lewis Hamilton won in Mexico, but so he's just chasing down his teammate to get the win. He needs to do that, obviously. And if you watch the big debate which came out the other day, you know, who's it going to be, Hamilton and Rosberg? And also, me and JT say it's going to be different people. But it's whoever you're backing for this. Are you backing Hamilton? Are you backing Rosberg? Are you backing Esteban Ocon? It's so open. You know, what's going to happen? It's, oh my God, it is nail-biting stuff. It's unbelievable. Obviously, as we all know, if Rosberg wins, wherever Hamilton finishes, that's it. That is it. You know, that he's won completely. If Hamilton wins and Rosberg comes either second or third, well, if he comes second, he is looking like he's going to lift it in Abu Dhabi because, again, it just needs another podium position in Abu Dhabi. But if he comes third, that means it needs to be a second place in Abu Dhabi, a 1-2, and he will win. So, I mean, like how we said in Mexico, the cards are very much stacked in Nico Rosberg's favour. I mean, unbelievable. This guy has such an advantage. Obviously, there's other things that you might have to keep in mind. Obviously, between the 19-point gaps, where will the others finish? But it's absolutely amazing. But basically, Hamilton, you know, go out and win this race. If you win this race, you're putting yourself in a really good position. If you don't win this race, I mean, it's, oh my God. I mean, JT, we've had 2 races, obviously won by Red Bull drivers, you know, not non-Mercedes drivers. Yeah. It's looking like it's going to. It's probably about a 99.9999999% chance Mercedes are going to win this race. But who is going to be on that top step? And more importantly, if it's Hamilton on that top step, who is going to be in the second place and who is going to be on third place? Because if Hamilton looks to his, you know, I don't know, left or right, you know, whatever second is, if he looks to second place and sees Rosberg, he can go, oh, no. But then if he looks to third place, he can still go, no. But obviously, but JT, I guess he'd rather be in that position because I'll tell you something. If he's at the bottom, like looking up at the podium, where they go, now the champagne, and then obviously play a different music, which I love in Brazil. I love how they don't play that, like, you know, that old music. Yeah,
it's like very like Caribbean music.
Well, obviously, I think it's like Brazilian maracas or something like that. But anyway, but obviously, if Hamilton's looking up at the podium, wherever Rosberg is standing, that's when Hamilton will be going, oh no, oh, I've done it. Oh my God, I've lost this race. I've lost this championship, haven't I? His famous words from Monaco this year, I've lost this race. Sorry, last year was, I've lost this race, haven't I? This time it'll be, I've lost this championship, haven't I? And then Paddy Lowe or Bono can run up to him and go, you have lost. Bad luck, mate.
You've lost. We're going with Rosberg for next season.
We're Rosberg bandwagoners. Anyway, I'm getting a bit off topic, but obviously that is Mercedes is dominance. Now, obviously, in these reviews in the last few, we haven't been talking about Mercedes too much, obviously, because, as you know now, they are ahead. They've won the Constructors. Obviously, they did that in Japan, which is now an eternity ago. They have, you know, they've sorted everything out. But obviously, it's down to those two, and it's so heated up between them. Rosberg, the cards are in his favour so much, JT, so much. I mean, Rosberg, he's going to be on cloud 11 going into Brazil, and Hamilton will be biting his fingernails and probably the dogs as well, and probably Rosberg. That's how he trims them. But I mean, JT, this championship fight, do you think Rosberg could lift it into Gallos?
It's possible because the odds are definitely with Rosberg this weekend. He's won this Grand Prix twice. He won in 2014 and in 2015. Lewis Hamilton has never won here, by the way, guys. Never won here. He's won a championship here, but he hasn't won a Grand Prix here yet. So now would be a good time to start winning the Brazilian Grand Prix. Hamilton holds some amazing memories here, well, especially in 2008. Massa, not so much. And also, this will be Massa's penultimate race and Jenson Button's penultimate race as well. So a very emotional weekend. It also could add the emotions as well if Rosberg wins the race. Wins the race, wins the championship. That is it. But
it's done deal.
But let's say that's going to happen, Elsie. What if Rosberg doesn't finish?
Oh no.
What will happen? And Hamilton wins the race, and I think Hamilton will have like 10
But Hamilton's won, JT. Hamilton's won. If Hamilton wins a race, and Rosberg doesn't finish, that's it. I mean, obviously, so the stats at the moment are the most Hamilton can do is a first place in Brazil and Abu Dhabi. The least Rosberg can do. The least Rosberg can do to win the World Championship is do 1 second place and 1 third place. If he does a third place in Intergalos, he has to do a second place in Abu Dhabi. If he does a third in Abu Dhabi and Hamilton wins in Brazil and Abu Dhabi, Hamilton's won. But then, obviously, if Nico Rosberg does 2 second places, that's it. He's won the World Championship. And if he does a second and third, if you can get your head around that is a lot of stats for you guys. But as JT just said, if Hamilton wins and Rosberg retires, that's it. And there's yet another trophy going back to Stevenage. So it's wow.
Not bad as well. So obviously stay tuned for that. It's going to be a very intriguing Grand Prix. And let's see if anything happens like what happened with Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Vettel when he spun at the first corner, about turn 5 I think it was, in 2012. Brilliant scenes there. But what I want to say is I wish Rosberg the very, very best of luck the way he could actually possibly win his first World Championship. So the next thing we're going to move on to is a team who is very much in the media spotlight this week for all the wrong reasons in a way, is Red Bull. Now, at the Mexican Grand Prix, they weren't exactly in the good books as well. One particular driver, obviously Max Verstappen. Now, obviously we do mention this in the debate show in a little more detail, but basically he was on the podium and then he got demoted to 4th, then he got demoted to 5th. So I don't know what the hell was going on. Sorry, he got demoted to 4th and then stayed 4th. Vettel was 5th. And obviously jumping from here there, it was absolutely crazy. You can see his facial reaction when he was standing there just like wiping his face and, oh wait, I'm not on the podium, am I, guys? Oh dear, look like a right fool, let's say. So actually felt, yeah, I'm on the podium, haha, screw you. And then he got demoted off the podium, and then he got demoted to 5th place. Max Verstappen in 4th place, and Max Verstappen was like, haha, screw you. And Daniel Ricciardo's just like, good night, mate. Shoo. You know, that type of thing. It's like, I'll drink for you, and a drink for you. So yeah, that's pretty much how the Mexican podium went. But this is Brazil. This is the new race. Vettel is going to compete, but obviously moving on to him when Elsie talks about Ferrari. So Red Bull chances this weekend. I think Max Verstappen is going to be a little bit on edge, but then again, he does handle things in a very professional manner. So I'm expecting some very good things from Max Verstappen, maybe to prove Ferrari and Mercedes that, you know what, come on guys, I can prove myself to everybody. I can prove myself I am championship worthy. You know, I've won a race, I can win some more, I am a good driver. Remember guys, he's only 19 years old. That isn't old. He's still got a lot to learn. This is only his 2nd full season of Formula 1. So, you know, there's a lot, we've got to remember to think about that. Daniel Ricciardo, I mean, 3rd place, I think obviously more or less sealed. Brilliant season by him, in my opinion. There's a lot to come by him if Red Bull do provide him a good car. This weekend, I think Ricciardo will fill up that 3rd place on the podium. I think he'll stay there. I think that is a very likely chance. It is a short track. Good opportunity to overtake him. Ricciardo excels at tracks like this as well, so I'm expecting good things from him. I'm expecting good things from Max Verstappen. I'm expecting him to maybe maybe threaten the Mercedes in qualifying as well. He's good at qualifying, and then maybe in the race, maybe throw his hat into the ring and maybe scare them at some point. Maybe go boo, put him off track. You know what I mean? It is a very tight, close, very packed circuit. Brazil is also the shortest circuit on the F1 calendar. So LC. Red Bull. Bad weekend last weekend, well, for one driver in particular.
Yeah.
Daniel Ricciardo sort of kept out of that. Bear in mind, he was a little bit involved, but it wasn't really his fault. So do you think the events from Mexico will hinder Red Bull's performance this weekend? Or do you think, you know what, they'll go, that's in the past, let's move on, let's new clean plate, let's go for it, let's see what we can do in Brazil.
Well, as you said, JT, Max Verstappen, he's almost adopting the Nico Rosberg persona. You know, that I don't really, whatever the media's saying, whatever the media, I'm myself. I can do whatever I want. Obviously, as we know, that happened to Nico Rosberg a few times. But Max, I mean, I love that about him. He's had a few collisions, through the year. Had that collision in Belgium. He had the problems in Belgium. He had the problems in Japan. The new rules come in, which could be called the Max Verstappen rule, but I just love that. I love that about him. Daniel Ricciardo happy, obviously third place, and as you said, JT, third place in the World Drivers' Championship. Happy with that. He's on the podium. If they made a podium for the Drivers' Championship, which I really wish they did, which would be really good. Really, really great for him, and obviously just growing to that place. Obviously, one day he wants to be world champion. But Red Bull, they're doing so well at the moment. They're doing well progression as a team. But obviously, Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo, as I said in the belated United States Grand Prix review, because I just feel like the two drivers are just getting maybe a bit too on each other's nerves now. It's becoming they can be friends still, but I think it's just becoming maybe more of a bit of a battle between them. And as you said, JT, it's a very tight circuit. What can happen as soon as you get a wheel on the grass or the AstroTurf? That's you gone straight away. And obviously there's a lot of lockups going on because it's a short circuit. As you said, I mean, even Kimi Räikkönen in 2012, we saw him locking up on the first corner because the rundown, which is called into the Skidoo de Lago, I think that's what it's called. Yeah. The rundown is not very long, especially with DRS assistance. So obviously, but Red Bull doing incredibly well. Sorry, just itch you back. Doing incredibly well. Just itch you back. Just out there. Doing really, really well. And I think what we could see, I'm going to say Max will do better than Daniel this race, JT. Yeah. Just throwing that out because obviously you said Daniel will probably fill that space on the podium. I think it's going to be very hard to make the podium. I'm going to have to do that at the end. It's going to be incredibly hard, but I think Max Verstappen will do better than Daniel. Max has just shown that, on the face of adversity, he can triumph. None of this media crap will hold him back. He has done it. He's 19. He doesn't care. But obviously, it's bad that they're going after him. And it's great for a 19-year-old to say that the whole world is, scrutinising against us. And I can just rise above it, which is really great from him. Daniel's doing an amazing job. The team's doing an amazing job. Apart from that pit stop error, well, there's two things I'd say, just quickly. There's two things I think Red Bull have done badly this year on. Obviously, the Monaco pit stop for Daniel Ricciardo. And then obviously the United States Grand Prix pit stop for Max Verstappen, which wasn't really too bad. Obviously Monaco was really bad because it cost Daniel the win. But obviously they're probably the two bad things in the season. And apart from that, it's been hunky-dory for them. Anyway, the next thing we're going to move on to, obviously, is Ferrari, as JT mentioned, with Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Räikkönen. Kimi doing really great. He loves this circuit. Obviously, he's a big fan. Won here in 2007 won the World Championship here in 2007 with an amazing battle over people like Felipe Massa, his teammate at Ferrari, and obviously really incredible rookie season for Lewis Hamilton. Best season. We'll get into that obviously later on in the year and stuff. But Sebastian Vettel, let's start with him. We started with Max at Red Bull. Obviously, we have to start with Sebastian. All that, arm waving and swearing to the big cheese. That's almost like, going up to your boss and, kegging him in front of the office or something like that. Absolutely ridiculous. It seems to be all sorted now. I mean, obviously, I know this is the next round after Mexico. What will happen here? They're not going to gang up on them. They're not going to say, "Oh, Sebastian, you can't do the formation lap." What you parking there? What you parking in fourth position for? We've got a special one for you, right at the back, behind the safety car. And also as well, will you just stay here for 10 seconds after the lights go out? No, but they can't. They're not going to punish him anymore. I don't think. Well, they can't do anyway. But obviously, he's going to have to really pull it out. He's got 2 rounds to win. And then he will be absolutely terrible because obviously this year and 2014, and so you've got this year, 2014 and 2007 are the years that he hasn't won. Obviously, it's 2007 and 2014. No, his first full season. Let's just say his first full season is 2014. That he's never won a Grand Prix in. This could be his second season. Obviously, that's embarrassing for him to say as well because obviously it's the second season with Ferrari. He had 3 wins last year. And it's running out for Sebastian. He will be killing his head about it.
Yeah.
But because of the actions that happened in Mexico, I think he will have to keep a very clean race, JT. Wouldn't you agree? Do you think it's almost like you get an after-school detention from a teacher in your last lesson.
Yeah.
And the next lesson, you just sit there and do your work, sunshine. Just keep out of anyone's way. Don't talk to your friends. Don't cough out of line. Just fly under the radar, please. For the love of God, don't get in any more trouble. I think, Seb. Yeah, just drive a very clean race. Don't do anything bad. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. I think Sebastian Vettel will be very precautious going into this weekend as to what he says and what he does as well. His driving, I think, will be a lot cleaner as well. And I just hope there is more team radio like we did in in Mexico. I mean, that was just amazing. I mean, yes, he was being offensive. Yes, he was swearing. Yes, he shouldn't have done it. But I've never even heard that before. That is so funny in my opinion. I love from Sebastian Vettel. So funny. But anyways, this weekend, won this Grand Prix twice in 2010 and in 2013. Obviously, when he did amazing things in 2013 as well. Won here in 2010, which also clinched Red Bull their first Constructors' Championship, and basically given Vettel an advantage heading into the last race of the season in Abu Dhabi, where he eventually won his first World Championship. Not so much the same this season. I think Vettel will be looking forward for the season to be finished, really, because he is more or less heading for his second winless season in Formula 1. His second winless season in three seasons, LC. Now, for a driver like Sebastian Vettel, that isn't good. I mean, four World Championships, multiple wins. He was up there with one of the big boys. I think he's stuck on 42 wins right now. Now Hamilton's on 51. He's got a big mountain to climb if he wants to get back up to where Senna and Prost and Hamilton is now. I think he has overtaken Senna. I believe he obviously fought on 42. Bad season for him. He want to get rid of this season, jump on next season, start fresh. Let's go. Kimi Räikkönen, on the other hand, isn't really bothered. He doesn't care. Kimi Räikkönen, his seasons, he's eating ice creams and carrots and
leave me alone. I know what I'm doing.
Exactly. He's got his holiday plan. He's going to sit in Finland, chill, ice all around him and everything, do nothing, and then he'll just rock up. He reminds me of the Stig. He just don't know what he's going to do next. That's how I'm going to Kimi Räikkönen. Kimi Räikkönen this weekend, yes, brilliant memories for him. He won the World Championship here, as many have who are on the grid this weekend, and also in previous seasons as well. So holds a lot of memories for drivers, especially as well Kimi Räikkönen. So that'll bring a bit of a positive mood as well. But I think Ferrari are winding down now. They've had enough. Their season's pretty much finished. They're not going to do anything. They can't really achieve much. I think the fact that Red Bull is a bit too far in terms of in the constructors. I think Red Bull's got second place. Ferrari will have to settle for third, which it's all right, I guess. It's not brilliant, but compared to what has been in previous seasons, I guess third place will do. So next thing we're going to move on to is Force India. Now, Force India still looking for a driver to replace Nico Hülkenberg, who is moving on to Renault next season. So that'll be on their mind as well. But I think Nico Hülkenberg will want to finish the season off on a high, do well for the team as well, and then obviously once the 1st January hits, that's when he'll officially be a Renault driver. So I'm not expecting much from Nico Hülkenberg this weekend. Sergio Perez, on the other hand, is on a big battle of his own. 7th place is his current standings. He's currently level on points with his nearest rival and from a different team, and Force India's rival team, Williams, both on 85 points. LC. Now they can't go in 6th place because I think Max Verstappen is just too far ahead. He's on 177 points. Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas are both on 85. So it's all to play for if you want to get up to 7th place, which I guess you get a bit of a bonus depending on where you finish in your contract. So again, money talks in that situation.
It does.
So Sergio Perez will want to be gunning for that, and also gunning for the team to make sure that they secure 4th place in the constructors. So I think Perez will be gunning more. He's got more to achieve because he's going to be there next season. So he's going to be like, well, I want us to get more money so that we can develop more and progress more into next season, so we can do well. Nico Hülkenberg, on the other hand, he'll be like, well, if he's finished 4th, congrats, but I'm not really that bothered. I've got Renault to think about for next season. I've got all my big wads of cash to think about very, very soon.
Money bags.
Very debatable. But Perez's weekend, thumbs up as well. But let's not forget, Nico Hülkenberg took his first and only pole position here in 2010 with Williams, and was leading in his first stint with Force India back in 2012. We all remember that, LC, with his collision with Lewis Hamilton, which cost him the possibility of winning his first Grand Prix. So I've always said, whenever we come here, I've always tipped Hülkenberg to be the big deal, to do well. So I think this weekend is going to be a bit different because he's moving on. You know, as in the past, he doesn't know where he was going. This time he knows, he's got his future set. Hulkenberg, not so much. I mean, ninth place, just ahead of Fernando Alonso, 8 points ahead of Fernando Alonso. He needs to watch over his shoulder and be like, well, whoa, where did he come from? He's a McLaren for crying out loud. Perez, good things this weekend. I'm gonna say about fourth or fifth for Perez. In my opinion, I think that's where roughly he'll finish anyways. LC. So Force India, they'll want to get off the season off to a very good high, and then in next season. Do you think they'll do it this season, or do you think maybe? Oh, hang on, you know, Force India, they've been too good lately. I think this could be a race where they might hiccup a bit and maybe cost a place to Williams, perhaps.
I'm not sure. GT, I mean, obviously, Force India have had, I think, the strongest season since they've been in Formula 1. Absolutely amazing. And obviously, they are into fourth place. Obviously, they can't catch Ferrari, as you know. They're almost 200 points. They're more than 200 points behind.
Exactly.
But they are 9 points ahead of Williams. That's an amazing stat from them. As you said, JT, an amazing race by Nico Hulkenberg in 2012. And if Hamilton didn't collide with him, obviously Lewis's final race was McLaren, so it was emotional for him as well. But Nico could have won, and also as well, wouldn't that have been great for 2012? Remember, you had Raikkonen. It was his rookie year, even though it was almost like his first real year in Formula 1 with a bad team.
Yeah.
He won in Abu Dhabi with Lotus Renault, and then obviously if Nico Hulkenberg won with Force India, that would have just like, you know, obviously because it was all Vettel and Alonso at that point.
Wow.
Obviously it's the battle for that. It's the battle for the points. Obviously, you said with Sergio Perez battling Valtteri Bottas, and it's also the fight. As you know, we put on the channel the other day, the battle of the Drive of the Day awards.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if Sebastian Vettel leads at the moment with 3, obviously he won in Italy, he won in Singapore, and then obviously JT crowned him the leader. As he won the Driver of the Day in Mexico. So who's going to win in Brazil and who's going to win in Abu Dhabi? I think there's about 6 or 7 drivers tied on 2, and then there's about 5 drivers on 1, and obviously there's quite a lot on 0. So, you know, come on guys, if you're on 0, that's pretty bad.
Exactly.
Pretty bad show from you. And obviously, just by the way, just throwing it out there, guys, the leader of the World Championship hasn't won the Driver of the Day award, just saying. But obviously, again, if he wins, I think if he wins this week, that could change. But you'll have to stick around to find out if that happens. But Force India doing an amazing job by that. Nico Hulkenberg, I think he could outscore Perez this race. And I think it would be great if he could do that. He loves this circuit, as you know. As you said, JT, he got pole position here for Williams, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
He loves this circuit. Everyone does. Perez is on high as well, so this is a team that is going to be unstoppable. So the next team to move on to is obviously the one that are 9 points down from Force India in 5th place, having a bad season. It's a penultimate round. It's a penultimate race for Felipe Massa. Obviously, Williams. I didn't say that. For Williams, it's his 299th Grand Prix. Felipe Massa.
Wow.
So obviously, he will want to do well. It's his last race in front of the Brazilian fans. Absolutely amazing from him. He will want to do a great race. Valtteri Bottas will obviously want to do a great race, battling Sergio Perez in the World Drivers' Championship. He's won Driver of the Day as well. He's only on 1 when Perez is on 2. Can Bottas win this week and then get back on pegging with Sergio Perez? But I've got to say, all this battling is great. It's amazing. And obviously, just one thing that JT said, you do get a bonus, and you can't. Well, it's probably in your bonus. Obviously, the higher you finish, if you beat your rivals, if you beat people like that. But also, it's a physical bonus, meaning like money. You know, you get that physically, but it's also a mental bonus because. Yeah, he will know that Perez, obviously, he's going to stay in the Force India, but because if you remember, Perez was tipped to go to Ferrari, earlier on in the season. Just imagine if Perez was tipped to go to Ferrari, and then Bottas could look up and go, I've beaten you, and it's just absolutely unbelievable. So there we go, physical bonus, mental bonus, absolutely amazing. Valtteri Bottas, really, really, really strong. Maybe he's fell under the radar a bit more than I would have liked him to. Canada was a great race for him, obviously, but then after that it's almost been a bit like hit and miss. Felipe Massa, obviously, again, he's bowing out, but can he do it in style and pull out something amazing for this race, which, again, he can pull out some crackers when he wants to, Felipe Massa. And obviously, as a team battle, all come together. Can you get into 4th place? It can happen. You're 9 points ahead. That's 4.5 points each, if you get what I mean. Obviously, you know what I mean, it's like share the workload out evenly. Absolutely amazing. So, JT, can Williams catch Force India, do you think? And what can those 2 drivers do?
Well, I think it's going to be a good race for Massa because, as I said, it's been on a Grand Prix in Formula 1 and his last race in front of his home fans who, don't get me wrong, again, memories galore for Felipe Massa here. But unfortunately, obviously, back in 2008, when he lost the championship, he handled it very, very well. On the podium and that, saying, thank you for your support. I mean, obviously, that was very, very touching as well. And the best way to bow out at your home Grand Prix for your last season of Formula 1 is to be on the podium. I think for a win is too far-fetched. Even a podium, you could say, but then again, it is very unpredictable what can happen in Brazil. So obviously, let's not count our chickens just yet. So there's a lot at stake for Felipe Massa. A lot of attention on him as ever, but even more so because this is going to be his last Brazilian Grand Prix. Bottas, on the other hand, signed off for next season now. So I think, again, moving on to next season, Williams, they're not going to catch Force India, in my opinion. Judging by, should Force India encounter any technical problems, then yes, a bit of luck could be thrown into it. But if that doesn't happen, I can't see Williams catching Force India, in my opinion. They've had a terrible season. They need to go away, restart, and focus on 2017, which will be their 40th year, LC, in Formula 1, did you know? So,
wow.
Very, very amazing. 40 years in Formula 1 next season, so that they need to mark that occasion with a very good result. My opinion, Williams, maybe Q2, maybe Bottas Q2, maybe Massa might scrape into Q3. Yeah. But then again, both might be in Q2, both might be in Q3. I don't know, but I'm going to say
Williams are very
I'm going to say one car in Q2, one car in Q3. Maybe one of them score some points. Can't see them be on the podium, unfortunately, but I hope, in my opinion, I hope Massa does get a good bow out to his Grand Prix. Maybe a podium, but who knows? Stay tuned to find out. So the next team we're going to move on to is McLaren. Now, a bit like the rest of the teams, apart from Mercedes, they're all winding down. It's the end of the season. They're always looking forward to next season, where obviously the rules change. Now, McLaren, last Grand Prix, it wasn't very good, unfortunately. No points from both drivers. But Brazilian Grand Prix holds a lot of memories for one driver in particular, and that is obviously Jenson Button. And I think you all know why. Because, well, actually for two reasons, let's say. Because he won his first and only World Championship with Brawn in a memorable Grand Prix. And this is where he took his last win for him personally and McLaren. So how long was that, LC? 4 years ago. That absolute wow.
4 years ago.
That is just stupidity in my opinion. That is from McLaren. But this is a Grand Prix where it's like, oh, what, 4 years ago, really, from McLaren? Oh wow, that just proves how bad we have been in recent years. And also in the Q1 last year, Fernando Alonso famously sat on a deck chair, and ever since then it's become one of the most popular memes around. I mean, one of the funniest in my opinion. I absolutely love it. Very cheeky as well when he turned around the camera and just casually winks at them. The Alonso wink, so absolutely incredible. So my predictions for McLaren this weekend. So this track is very short. McLaren have excelled on short circuits as well, such as Monaco, Austria, and tracks like that. So brilliant. So I think this weekend will be exactly the same. I'm going to predict maybe one driving Q2, one driving Q3. I'm going to say pretty much what it has been throughout the second part of the season. Alonso Q3, Jenson Button Q2. Alonso has pretty much out-qualified Jenson Button a lot this season, so obviously why change now? And in the race, I want to say about Button P10 and Alonso P7, around that mark. If that happens, I will be happy with McLaren. Even if we both score points, even if it's P9 and P10, it's not the best, but it's points, which means we've made loads more progress since last year as well. Yeah. So LC, McLaren, bad. Average season as well, better than 2015. They are winding down, looking forward to next year. Let's hope it'll be better next season. So what's your predictions with them? What do you think they can do this weekend?
So JT, obviously they're winding down, looking forward to 2017, which is what they need to be doing. But I think it's been very much a progressive season for McLaren. Obviously they are leading Toro Rosso by 19 points, which is obviously really great from them. But just on the constructors, I want to say, obviously, if they finish in sixth place, which it's looking like they will, obviously get that. It's not as your very famous words are, JT. Don't count your chickens. Yes. Don't hate chickens now, or I've forgotten it now, but it's also like don't count your chickens. Obviously, if they can hold that lead, which is going to be absolutely great from them, and they'll finish in sixth position, and then I think McLaren, obviously both Jenson Button and Fernando Alonso, will look back at this year and say, this has been good. We are in sixth place. We're behind Williams. We're ahead of Toro Rosso. Obviously, it's not as good as the fourth place, third place, second place, and obviously first place that we've been in before. Obviously, in previous years, but it's going to be good. It's going to be showing that they've made progress, which is going to be great. sixth place doesn't sound so bad. It's not as bad as ninth place or 10th place, or what they were looking like obviously in 2015, and obviously at the first part of the season, because you only had obviously Stoffel Van Dorn scoring the first point in Bahrain, and then you had a few points like where you've had a few races where it's like, oh my god, what are McLaren doing? Why don't they just pull out of Formula One altogether? But obviously that's away from that. Fernando Alonso likes the circuit, obviously with his 2 championships again being wrapped up into Gallos. Obviously, Jensen Button's 2009, 2012 win with McLaren, last win, really great from them. They stood on the podium last year in 2015. Can they do it this year? But for real, probably not. But obviously, it's shown progress by them, which is really good. 2 good points finishes is what they need, I reckon. Now, the next team to move on is obviously the team that are trailing McLaren by 19 points, and that is Toro Rosso. Let's start with Daniel Kvyat. Obviously, he had a few bad races with his mentality and things like that from the demotion at Red Bull, but then he's got his ego back. Remember, he's won Driver of the Day, so obviously he's always got that behind him, and he is pulling out some good races now. So he is on, he's growing, and obviously also as well, JT, technically this is the first race when he can almost, all the news of being signed by Toro Rosso can now sink in, and he's now back.
Yeah.
Carlos Sainz is safe, or Carlos Safe if you want to call him that. Carlos Safe for next year. Carlos Safe Jr. Is in Toro Rosso for next year, which is great by him. There's going to be no Pierre Gasly, so obviously we'll have to stick with the 2 Frenchmen we have on the grid at the moment. So yeah, Toro Rosso doing a really great job from them. The counter team again, they've done moderately well at Brazil before. I'd like to say a good points finish for, let's say, Carlos Sainz, or at least one of the Toro Rossos, both into Q2. I can definitely see that happening, possibly not Q3, but yeah, Toro Rosso definitely showing improvement. And they have the lead over Haas. Obviously, that'll never be caught. They have a 25 point lead, a 15 point lead, 15 point lead, 25. I can't work it out in my head, but they've got a big lead on Haas. They can't beat them. Haas can't catch them, I don't think. They might catch McLaren. I do hope they do. So JT, I mean, obviously you won't want them to catch McLaren because you're a McLaren fan. But do you think they can then? Well, actually, no. Let's not ask you that question because I know you'll say no. Let's ask you the question of how do you think Daniel Kvyat and Carlos Safe can do in this race?
I think they'll do okay. I mean, yes, they can relax now. The both drivers are both signed. They're both signed for next season. Oh, how good's that?
No.
For another year, both Kvyat and Carlos Sainz. But I mean, the form guard against both Toro Rosso drivers isn't really that good. Ever since the British Grand Prix, Daniel Kvyat has only scored points in 1 Grand Prix. Carlos Sainz has scored points in 3 Grand Prix, if you want to compare. Daniel Kvyat 2, if you want to class the British Grand Prix, and Carlos Sainz 3. So since the British Grand Prix, and that was about 8-9 races ago now, maybe 10. So the form we've got to get with them isn't really that good. So I'm going to say they're not going to do well. But they're more positive, they're more rejuvenile. In qualifying, they've been good. In practice, they've been good. Which is kind of like, proving that, the pace is there. It's just on a longer basis that it hasn't really been for Toro Rosso, which is a bit bad in my opinion. But Daniel Kvyat, happy that he signed. Carlos Sainz, looking forward to the future. Let's see what the future brings. Let's hope next season Toro Rosso can do good. But for this Grand Prix, I don't think it's going to be a good Grand Prix. I can't see Daniel Kvyat scoring points. I think it's going to be close, though. I think it's going to be around 12th, 11th, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Predict about that. Carlos Sainz, I don't think, maybe 13th, just behind Daniel Kvyat. I think maybe 12th as well, around that mark. I think that's where both drivers are going to end up. Obviously, the McLarens are going to beat them. Of course they are. I'm not being biased or anything. But obviously that is my overall opinion on that. Qualifying in the hand. Carlos Sainz does well in qualifying. I think he qualified, was it 6th, or I believe it, in Mexico,
like
7th? Yeah. He did quite well, I believe. Oh, actually, I might be 10th or something. He did get the Q3. He definitely did, but actually I might be 10th, actually. I think it was 10th, if I correctly saw. So Toro Rosso, it's not going to be a good weekend for them. I could be wrong, but that's just my overall opinion.
Yeah.
So next thing we're going to move on to is the American team. Haas, coming to the end of their first season, LC.
Yes, I know.
So, I mean, alright, good start to the season. Not really as well towards the end. Their first time in Brazil. Having a good spell in South America, kind of. And so, yeah, exactly. So, I'm not expecting much from Haas. They'll be looking on, again, like many teams for next season. I'll be excited to see what they bring for next season, because they've only been in Formula 1 for one season,
Yeah.
and then already there's a rule change. So, that's like, oh, well, we've just learned about this car, about this design, now we've got to go do it all over again.
Yeah.
So that'll be very intriguing to see. This weekend, it's not going to be a good Grand Prix. The last Grand Prix, I mean, wow, that was terrible. I think, what was it, 20 at P20 and P21? Bad. That was really, really bad from Haas.
Do you know what? They may as well not have even
that was
done the
awful.
race, JT. They may as well have just stayed
Exactly,
at
they
home.
might as well just chilled in the paddock and watch the race themselves.
Yeah.
So I believe will be better, but not as good. Again, for next season, I think both drivers will be there. Then again, Esteban Gutierrez's future at Haas, it still remain. It's like, is he staying? Is he going? It's likely he is going to stay, but then again, obviously, as I said, don't count your chickens just yet, because anything could happen with the transfer market. So, LC, Haas, you like them?
Yeah.
Are they going to do well? Are they going to do well?
Yes, Roman will. Esteban won't. Roman is such a strong driver. I love Roman. You know what I mean? He's just one of these drivers that I'm like, oh my god. Haas have got to worship that gem that they have. It has. It's amazing. Yeah. But obviously, just as you mentioned about the team, JT, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. We'll talk about this more obviously when we do the Haas season review and stuff like that. But now they've had a season, we don't think they're a joke anymore. They're not. They are obviously out with the rookie teams that are in Formula One. Obviously, the bottom teams, because we obviously expected them to be like Sauber, Manor, Renault. Of course you did. There's no doubt that everyone thought before the year they're going to do that. JT put his £1 bet on Haas at the start of the year, but he probably joking that they'd win. I mean, obviously it is a joke that they win. They can't win anymore. Yeah. But if you put a bet on to say that they will be the first team to score double points, two-digit points, a double figure, or however you say it, points, I think that's where people will be like, oh my god, I've won a fight. This is like a Leicester 2.0. This is amazing. So Haas, absolutely amazing. And everything next year will follow the money, the sponsorship, the car, obviously when the revamp and the regulation and things like that. But this weekend is really strong for them. Haas will always impress. It's really great from them. So anyway, the next team we're going to quickly mention, because we're going to whiz through the rest of the season, the rest of the championship, is obviously Renault, 8 points in ninth. Strong, but obviously, it's like, they're fighting ninth place. They're not going to catch Haas at all. They're not going to be caught by Manor. And there we go. There's Renault just sorted. The yellow team. Yep. But who is Nico's there? I think the big talk though, and Brazil is going to be a proving ground. JT, who is good enough to get that seat? Is it going to be? Obviously, is it going to be K-Mag or is it going to be Palmer alongside Nico Hülkenberg? That's the fight. So Brazil is a proving ground. That's the thing. It's a proving ground for those two Renault drivers.
It is as well. Like, obviously, as I said, them two drivers are going to be battling like crazy to fight for that seat. You know what I mean? So that is going to be through a lot of interest as well. So Manor now at short circuits as well. I mean, I'm not expecting much from Manor, but look what happened in Austria. Very short circuit. I think it's the second shortest or the third shortest. Yep. Verlaine scored points. He did well in Monaco as well, as did, I think, Haryanto when he was there at the time. So I think Manor might do well. They might get into Q2 for the race. They might get a point, but then again, it all depends how the race unfolds. Very short circuit, so obviously they are going to get lapped a lot quicker. So, but then again, Esteban Ocon hasn't retired LC since he first took part in Formula 1.
That's what I want to hear, my boy.
Exactly. So let's see if that form can continue with Manor. I don't think they'll score points. I think they will have a threat to get into Q2. But I think that is the best it's going to get. Unfortunately,
that's what they need here. And obviously, Ocon's stats, never retiring. That's what he needs. That's what he needs. And Sauber, JT, Sauber.
Sauber. Oh dear. Why even see it?
So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching our Brazilian Grand Prix preview. And make sure, obviously, I hope you enjoy. We hope you enjoy the weekend. It'll be absolutely amazing. It's a penultimate round. It's a tension. It's absolutely amazing. One thing to mention, obviously, is the weather. Obviously, there's been a lot of races that have started in the dry and ended in the wet, or vice versa. Obviously, we saw 2012 Championship decider in the wet, finish in the dry. No, it's the other way around, sorry. Starts in the dry, finishes in the wet. So that's all to play for. who is going to get it,
Yeah.
Hamilton or Rosberg. Oh, it's so tense. It's unbelievable. So we'll see you then, guys. Enjoy the Grand Prix. And that's it from the F1 Debate Show. Bye, guys.
See you later, guys. Take